Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about pencils and value, and we're going to do a little practice to get a hang of what pencils you can use to create what values, how you can control value by changing pencils, also maybe like modulating your pressure a little bit, and then also we'll talk about gradation, making values shift gradually from darker to lighter. Okay, so first I want to introduce you to the arsenal of pencils that we'll be working with in class. So there are 5 of them, and they work a little bit like a number line in a way, meaning that the greater the number, the more extreme the value is, lighter or darker. So the 6H is the lightest one. That one is the one that you're going to use to like draft things out lightly and also render lighter values. After that, we have a 2H, which is slightly darker or slightly softer graphite. We have an HB, which is like the 0 on your number line. It falls in the middle, so it's a nice like medium value. And then we have a 2B, which is slightly darker. And then we have a 6B, which is your darkest pencil. Just know that beyond this spectrum, there are more pencils that fall in between and beyond the 6B and the 6H. These are just a manageable size that we can work with in class and really get a nice extension of value and kind of a nice like dynamic range of value from like darks to lights. So it's a good set of pencils. Okay, in addition to that, I'm going to go over a couple other tools real quickly. This is a white plastic eraser, although it's not so white because I've been using it. This is great for like erasing out areas. If you wanted to erase an area, but not like totally, like you wanted to lighten it so you could adjust it. Like say you blocked in a value that was too dark, but you didn't want to completely erase it on the paper. This is a tool that works great for that. It's called a kneaded eraser. You can knead it. In fact, when it gets really dirty, I like to knead it to kind of get it cleaner again. Then another tool that we stock in the art room that you're welcome to borrow is this eraser. I call it a clicky eraser. Maybe it has a more technical name than that. Some students like to call it a precision eraser. Basically, it's just a very thin eraser stick that you can use to erase like things and with more precision. Okay, this is something we don't stock in the art room, but I find that a lot of students enjoy them, and so they go out and they purchase their own. They're a great tool to have, not just for art class, but also for other classes as well. If you're taking a Scantron test, this is kind of a nice tool to have as well. So it's like the clicky precision eraser, only it's the size of like a normal eraser that you would find like on the back of like a number 2 pencil. If you are planning on getting one of these for art class, I would suggest getting one that has a white plastic on the inside. I am not a fan of pink erasers. I would stay away from them. They tend to make pink marks on your paper. So if you have a pink eraser, I would not use that, okay? And then I have just like little hand sharpener here as well. Okay, so that gives you a little bit on your tools. This is just plain white paper. It's 9 by 12.
Okay, so for this exercise, I am tracing around my ruler at the bottom of my paper. Then I'm going to mark off each inch on both the top and the bottom of the ruler. This is going to help me to make 9 separate boxes that will be filling in with each a different value. I then connect the little tick marks that I created on the top and the bottom of the ruler with vertical lines to create those boxes. And that just helps you to get set up, and so it's much, much easier to fill in your values.
At this point, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to reorganize my pencils, make sure that I have them from lightest to darkest. This first box, I'm just going to leave white. So if you need to label that for yourselves to remind you to leave that white, go ahead and label that. And then I'm going to bracket off these first 3 boxes. These are going to be my light values. I'm going to bracket off these 3 middle boxes, and I'm going to make these my middle values. And then I'm going to bracket these off as my dark values. So there's different strategies to completing this value scale. I tend to like to start from the dark end and then work lighter, and just always making sure that I'm going to end up like super duper light with my 6H pencil here, okay, at like the lightest value I can like make with a pencil, and that every step in between is kind of a nice even like jump up to a darker value. Okay, so this 6B, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shade this in.
Okay, I'm going to speed things up with the video footage now. And so I'm shading in the first box, which is going to be the darkest box. I'm using my 6B. I like to shade in different directions, horizontally and vertically. I put a piece of paper underneath my paper as scrap paper just to make sure that when I go off of the paper, I'm not getting graphite on my self-healing mat, or in your case, it might be on your desk. I'm going to adjust the value as needed, make sure that it's all a nice clean and evenly shaded box for that first dark one. I want that to be the darkest value. I'm also using my 6B for the next box. However, I'm not going to layer as much graphite here, not going to press as hard. I want it to look a step lighter than the darkest box. For the next box, I'm going to switch to my 2B, and that is automatically going to be a harder graphite than the softer 6B. And now I'm also using the 2B, and sometimes I switch back and forth between the 2B and the HB for the next boxes. I use the HB for the middle box for sure, and you'll see I just revisit boxes as needed. I use my kneaded eraser to kind of pull little chunks of value away just to make sure that things are shifting as they should. Okay, now after the HB for the lightest middle value, I definitely use my 2H there. And then I switch between my 6H and my 2H for the last two boxes that get shaded before the white one. And then I'm just going to clean everything up and just make sure that boxes are nice and evenly shaded.